Have an awesome day, everyone. I hope your day is great. So, now, before I would like to start this presentation, I would like to share to you that not all harmful are not useful. And there are many things that harmful, but they are very useful in our daily lives. So, now we're going to discuss this topic heavy metals with my group mates Ashikin Dampipi and Princess Anne Salivar. Heavy metals are very important in our daily life because it is essential to maintain metabolism of human body. Heavy metals also is very important because we use industrial materials every day that contains heavy metals. So, so this is the overview of heavy metals, including here the mercury, cadmium, lead, and arsenic. So mercury is the most volatile, toxic in vapor. The sources of mercury incineration of municipal waste, electrical switches, fluorescent light bulbs, and mercury bulbs. Health effects of mercury is skin burns, damage to the kidney, brain damage, severe brain damage, damage to vision. And the cadmium, it is most toxic. The sources of cadmium is a cigarette smoke, fertilizer, the pesticide, photovoltaic device in TV screen. And the health effects is kidney problem, bone diseases, severe pain in joints. And the lead is low melting point, structural metal, water, ducts in cooking vessels. So the sources of lead is batteries and sinkers in fishing pipes, paints, ceramics, and the health effects is the neurological and reproductive system effects, blood-brain barrier effects. And then the arsenic is similar to phosphorus, common poison used for murder and suicide. So the arsenic is source of the source of arsenic is the pesticide, herbicides, tobacco, smoke, wood, preservative. And then the health effects is diarrhea, severe vomiting, and GI damage. So these are the definition of heavy metals. The term heavy metals refer to any metallic chemical element that has a relatively high density and is toxic or poisonous at low concentration. It is poisonous because it tends to bioaccumulate in our body. So these are the most common heavy metals: the mercury, cadmium, arsenic, and lead. So the mercury is used in thermometers, fluorescent lamp, and other devices. The cadmium is used in batteries, alloys, solar cells, and pigments. The arsenic is used to produce different kind of glasses such as pharmaceutical glass, optical glass, display glass, and other glasses, kind of glasses. And then the lead is used in cosmetic products, batteries, pipes, and plumbing materials. Human consume metallic element through both water and food because it is essential to maintain the metabolism of human body. Heavy metals are natural elements characterized by their rather high atomic mass can be found all throughout the crust of our planet. So these are the product of heavy metals, including the ceramics, television, paints, costume jewelry, batteries, cosmetic products, electronic devices, and tap water. So heavy metals consist of both biological essential as non-biological essential metals. So essential heavy metals, although they are necessary, they become toxic at high concentration. Non-essential heavy metals can be tolerated at low levels but become toxic as well at higher concentration. So these are the non-essential heavy metals. These non-essential heavy metals are used in industrial materials such as electronic devices and other materials, cosmetic products, and these are the essential heavy metals. These essential heavy metals are considered as a micronutrients. They are essential for growth and stress resistance, as well as for biosynthesis and function of different biomolecules such as carbohydrates, chlorophyll, nucleic acids growth, chemicals, and secondary metabolites.
Good day, everyone. So now let's proceed to the sources of heavy metals. Heavy metals can emanate from both natural and anthropogenic processes and end up in environmental compartments like in soil, water, air, and their interface. So would like to show to you the sources of heavy metals and their cycling in the soil, water, air organism ecosystem. It should be noted that the content of metals in tissue generally builds up from left to right, indicating the vulnerability of humans to heavy metal toxicity. So this is the sources of heavy metals and their cycle in the environment. The industrial products, the burn fuel, fertilizers, pesticide, then the rocks in Earth's crust. Here comes the air, the soil, and the water. The inside, the plants, then plants used by the humans. Then from the water, going to the domestic animals, the fishes, then the air continuous to the birds, and it's cycle. Cycle lang siya. So proceed ta sa unang processes, which is the natural processes. So many students have documented different natural sources of heavy metals under different and certain environmental conditions. Natural emissions of heavy metals occur. So isa sa mga natural processes is pwede ma-involve ang volcanic eruption, which is volcanic eruption is a natural phenomena. Volcanic eruptions, sea salt sprays, forest fires, but sometimes, di ba, ang forest fire is, baka pwede siya man-made if kanang gituyo ug sunog ang forest, kani pong mga rock weathering, biogenic sources, and wind burn soil particles. The natural weathering processes can lead to the release of metals from their endemic spheres to different environmental compartments. Heavy metals can be found in the form of mga hydroxides, kaning mga chemicals, mga combined na, diba, oxides, sulfides, sulfates, phosphates, silicates, and organic compounds. Then, under the anthropogenic processes is diri na to mapasulod ang mga industries, agriculture, wastewater, mining, and metallurgical processes, and runoffs also lead to the release of pollutants to different environmental compartments. Anthropogenic processes of heavy metals have been noted to go beyond the natural fluxes from some metals. Metals naturally emitted in wind-blown dust or mostly from industrial areas. So, ang isa sa mga nagaproduce og mga metals is naa sa mga industrial areas, mga industries. Ang agriculture pod, pwede po siya, ang mga wastewater. Some important anthropogenic sources which significantly contribute to the heavy metal contamination in the environment include automobile exhaust, which releases lead. So, isa sa mga anthropogenic sources na nag-contribute sa mga heavy metal contaminations sa environment is kaning mga automobile exhaust nga nag-release siya lead. smelting, which releases arsenic, copper and zinc, insecticides, which release arsenic, and burning of fossil fuels, which release nickel, vanadium, mercury, selenium, and tin. So, isa po sa mga nakakontribute sa environmental pollution is because of human activities. Of course, aware ta na kaning mga human activities nga mag-contribute sa mga environmental pollution, sa mga any kind of pollution because of human activities. Some, siguro dili tanan, but most of it kay tungod sa human activities. Then general sources of heavy metals in residential houses. Infiltration from outside along with the dust carried on shoes and clothes. Indoor sources include all lead and latex-based paints, domestic water supply, burning of food, and tobacco smoke. Pesticides and fungicides are major sources of arsenic and mercury indoors. So these are the general sources of heavy metals sa residential houses. Rapod siya. Effects of heavy metals contamination. So let's proceed to this. Heavy metals contamination is becoming a serious issue of concern around the world as it has gained momentum due to the increase in the use and processing of heavy metals during various activities to meet the needs of rapidly growing population. So ang heavy metals is naging serious concern siya around the world kay naghatag siya attention sa kadaghanan tungod pud sa rapidly growing population. So there are three effects in soil, water, and air. So let's tackle first the effects on soil. So soils have been noted to be the major sinks for heavy metals released into the environment by aforementioned anthropogenic activities, paints, land application of fertilizer, animals, manure, sewage, sludge, fertilizers, pesticides, wastewater, irrigation, coal combustion, residues of spillage of petrochemicals lead to soil contamination by heavy metals. So effects on soils, tungod ani mga heavy metals, kay daghan kaayo mapa anthropogenic activities nag-cause siya harmful effects sa soil. Soils have been noted to be the major sinks for heavy metals released into the environment by aforementioned anthropogenic activities. So imagine, isa siya sa mga major sinks for heavy metals na nag-release into the environment. So, takabalo, kaning mga cells sa atong palibot, sa atong environment is na siya mga causes sa heavy metal, which is unsafe na siya. Kaya dagan na kayo mga chemicals na nakuan pagani diri ang spillage of petrochemicals. Most heavy metals do not undergo microbial or chemical degradation. Dili siya nag-undergo. It is because they are non-degradable and consequently their total concentration lasts for a long time after being released to the environment. So, dili siya basta-basta, di ba? Dili siya nag-undergo mga microbial or chemical degradation. Then now, effects on water. Although there are many sources of water contamination, as industrialization and urbanization are two of the culprits for the increased level of heavy metal contamination in water. So, isa sa mga ginabasol is kaning tungod sa industrialization and urbanization, di ba? So, tungod kay industrialized na kaayo ang kuan, Then grabe pod kadaghan na ang mga rampant na kayo ang mga urbanized areas. So naghatag siya increased level of heavy metal water contamination. So siguro sa katong mga urbanized areas, most of it na siguro is alam mga water is mga contaminated na sa mga outdoors. Heavy metals are transported by runoff from industries, municipalities, and urban areas. Most of these metals end up accumulating in the soil and sediments of water bodies. Heavy metals can be found in traces in water sources and still be very toxic and impose serious health problems to human and the ecosystem. So kaning mga heavy metals nga mapadulong sa water bodies or mga traces in water is mag-cause jud siya mga health problems to humans or to other ecosystem. This is because the toxicity level of a metal depends on factors such as the organism which are exposed to it, its nature, its biological role, and period at which the organisms are exposed to the metal. Then the last is effects on air. So, naara gihapon ang industrialization and urbanization. Diba, due to the rapid world population growth have recently so tungod sa sa mga areas nga very urbanized na kaayo is pwede to sila mag-contribute og kanang air pollution, diba? Siguro grabe na kayo katong mga squatter area nga the major environmental problem around the world. It says that due to the continuous rapid world population, to the continuous population growth is have recently made air pollution. Natural processes which release particulate matters into air include dust storms, soil erosion, volcanic eruptions, and the rock weathering, while anthropogenic activities are more industrial and transportation related. Particulate matter are important and require special attention as they can lead to serious health problems such as skin and eye irritation, respiratory infections, premature and mortality, and cardiovascular diseases. So, ang mga particulate matter is very important and it required special attention kay pwede siya mag-lead sa mga serious health problems nga ang uban pwede siya uncurable, diba? Or curable siya pero it can also lead to death. Those pollutants also cause deterioration of infrastructure, corrosion, formation of acid rain. So, mao to ang effects on air. So, to sum it up, wata kabalo nga ang mga air nga atong gina-inhale is dili na siya safe. Unsafe na siya kay tungod sa polluted na siya or daghan na kaayog mga chemicals nga nasagol which is very harmful nga maghatag og mga effects sa atuang health, maghatag og health problem na kay very rampant na kaayo ang mga places, ang mga areas labaw na to mga urbanized, diba? Katong mga very industrialized nga mga areas nga nagkuan sila, naghatag sila mga reason nga nung polluted na kaayo ilang area, especially nga pwede mag-made og mga air pollution. So, these are the 3 effects of heavy metals in the environment, the effects on soil, the effects on water, and the effects on air. So, heavy metals effects on plants. So, naa po yung mga heavy metals nga naghatag og effects on plants. Plants experiences oxidative stress upon exposure to heavy metals that leads to cellular damage and disturbance of cellular ionic homeostasis. To minimize the detrimental effects of heavy metals exposure and their accumulation, plants have evolved the detoxification effect mainly based on chelation subcellular compartmentalization. So, maybe, ang kaning mga heavy metals is naghatag siya mga effects sa plants or possibly kay pwede siya magdulot nga kaning mga plants is dili ka-experience og mga oxidated stress upon exposure, di ba, tungod sa heavy metals which led to cellular damage and disturbance of cellular ionic homeostasis. So, this is the two heavy metals effects on plants. And that was from the main sources of heavy metals up to the effects on the environment, environmental effects, or the environmental contamination, and up to the effects on plants.
Good afternoon everyone, especially to you ma'am. So for now, I am going to discuss about the properties of heavy metals, environmental pollution, and the effects of heavy metals to human body. First, property of heavy metals. Heavy metals, they occur near the bottom of the periodic table. So as you can see guys, in the next slide, it is the periodic table of the elements. So the red one is the metals and the green one is the non-metals. Heavy metals have high density and it is very toxic in nature. So why is heavy metals is toxic? Because it will cause oxidative stress, damage of biological molecules such as enzymes, proteins, and lipids, and nucleic acid, damage of DNA, which is key to carcinogenesis, as well as the neurotoxicity. And heavy metals is non-degradable. So note guys that arsenic is not actually a metal, but is a semi-metal. Its properties are intermediate between those metals and non-metals. Heavy metals and environmental pollution. Metal concentration in soil typically ranges from less than 1 to as high as 100 milligram or kilogram. Heavy metals are the main group of inorganic contaminant, large area land contaminated with them due to use of pesticides, fertilizer, and emission from municipal waste, incinerates, and smelting industries. So, we all know guys nga, ang pesticides and fertilizer is makadaot jud siya sa environment. Labaw na og malabian siya og gamit, it will cause pollution. So, it is the effects of heavy metals to human body. So, it is the elements of heavy metals, the arsenic, cadmium, chromium, mercury, copper, and lead. So, in the boxes, it is the human body, the human body of a person. The next. Sulfur inorganic arsenic can have a immediate toxic effect. Indigestion of large amount can lead to gastrointestinal symptoms such as severe vomiting, so magsuka-suka, disturbance of the blood and circulation, damage to the nervous system, and eventually death. So makamatay jud ang arsenic. Ang effects sa arsenic is pwede siya makamatay. So, people breathing cigarette smoke can also inhale cadmium. Food, vegetables like potato and leafy vegetables, and cereal grains grown in contaminated soil with high levels of cadmium may contain small amounts of cadmium. Leaking sewage sludge to agricultural soil may cause the transfer of cadmium compounds absorbed by plants that may play a significant role in food chain and accumulate in various human organ. Also, the other great source of cadmium exposure is cigarette smoke. So, nasa sa aso sa sigarilyo ang cadmium. Why lead is harmful? Lead can harmful production of blood cells and the absorption of calcium needed for strong bones and teeth, muscle movement, and the work of nerves and the blood vessels. High lead levels can cause brain and kidney damage. So, ang lead pwede siya makakause sa brain or kidney damage, madaot imuhang brain or imuhang kidney. Copper toxicity can result from chronic or long-term exposure to high levels of copper through contaminated food. So, contaminated food, mga pagkaon or tubig. Symptoms of the condition includes diarrhea, headache, sakit sa ulo, and severe cases, kidney failure, madaot imuhang kidney. Certain genetic disorders such as Wilson disease can also lead to copper toxicity. Next, the inhalation of elemental mercury vapors can cause neurological and behavioral disorders such as tremors, emotional instability, insomnia, dili katulog, memory loss, kanang mawala imong gipang memorize, neuromuscular changes and headaches, sakit sa ulo. They can also harm the kidneys and thyroid. High exposure have also lead to death. So, ang mercury pod is pwede siya madulong o palitan taas kayo ang exposure nimo sa mercury, it will lead to death. The health hazard associated with exposure to chromium are dependent on its oxidation state. The metal from chromium as it exists in this product is of low toxicity. The hexavalent form is toxic. Adverse effect of the hexavalent form on the skin may include ulcerations, dermatitis, and allergic skin reaction. So it is the conclusion of our report. Heavy metals are toxic elements, highly affects to living organism, so to be taken in permeable limit. So dapat ang heavy metals dapat dili siya masubraan, dapat limitado lang yun siya. Heavy metals can be detected by hair analysis, urine sample techniques. So, pwede siya ang heavy metals, pwede nimo siya ma-detect sa hair analysis, urine sample techniques. Consumption of heavy metals too much may lead to toxicity, so should be taken in limits. So, limitado ra jud ang heavy metals consumption. So, thank you so much guys for listening.